Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to put the final plot here. And this was a plot that Carolina had asked about earlier this morning and asked about adding these things. And I know that we're going to do some things this afternoon. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to go. So I posted version 6. That's now available, the latest version. Okay? Okay. For this latest plot, it's actually going to be similar data to what we just plotted, but we're going to do it on a scatter plot. So I'd like you to go to the analysis area, and I'd like you to drag in, ladies and gentlemen, a plot. Okay? A plot. And this plot, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be called income versus infection count scatter plot. So income versus infection count scatter plot. Okay? And this plot is going to be, I think it's one of the nice features of AnyLogic to be able to show these things to depict people's characteristics in a population. We saw it this morning. Do you remember this morning we saw these ones of like distance from a grocery store versus weight, or a preference for convenience foods and weight? Do you remember those from this morning? We're going to be doing the same thing here. Each dot is going to be a person. Okay? Now, for this scatter plot, this is going to need to depend on a data set. So we're going to bring in a data set, and this will be called income versus infection. Maybe we should call it versus personal infection count. Infection count histogram, or call it data set. Count data set. Okay? Oops. Not with a capital A. There we are. Data set. Now, this data set will be different from the data set we've already used. That data set, we had time as the horizontal axis value. This one we don't. We want to uncheck this box, ladies and gentlemen. Ready? Get set. Go. Is that okay? We uncheck that box because we're going to have X and Y coordinates that correspond to income and infection count respectively. Okay? So we unchecked this box. Secondly, we don't want it to only keep up to 100 samples. As far as I'm concerned, we could have 10,000 samples. Just want to be able to add things to it. And we don't want it to update data automatically. Okay. So we just have this data set. Let us make this plot depend on this data set. How do you think you make this plot depend on the data set? You should be seeing a pattern.
Add data.
You do add data. And the data set, are we plotting a value or a data set? A data set indeed. And the data set will be income versus personal infection count. And what data set will it be? What data set do you think this is? This dot income versus personal infection count data set. Sure. Can I do that in 2 minutes?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this here depends on this data set. This plot I've made refer to a data set, and I've called it income versus personal infection count, and the data set is this. It's the one we just added. Are we okay with that? The final thing here, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to add in an event. Where do we find an event? Where is an event? It lives in what palette? Indeed. Indeed. Man, you folks are good. Try to get an event. This event, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be, gosh, I'm tempted to, okay, update income versus personal infection count event, or update that Scatterplot event. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I've actually got data set event. Okay. I'm really struggling within me. You have to understand, I struggle in the aesthetics of things. In some ways, I feel that we should maybe use this one, just reuse it since it's a monthly event, and this will be a monthly event. But part of me makes me feel, oh, we should have a new event, and there's a civil war going on inside. Okay, should we use one? Should we use the other? And aesthetics on both sides are keenly felt. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, here it is. We're going to update this. This is going to go on not just once. It's going to go on cyclically, and it's going to go on every 1 month. The trigger type is a timeout. Still just a timeout. It's going to go on at regular intervals, reporting intervals. Okay, are we ready for this? Are we ready for this? Okay, this isn't going to be too bad. Okay, this is what we want to do. 4. Person P, person in the population. What do we need to add their data? And what data will we be adding for this person? Income and personal infection count. And where does that data have to be told to? To what does that data have to be told?
Income versus
personal data set. Okay. So remember, this is referring to Maine, because we're in Maine. This dot income versus, we're going to have to tell this data set, hey, add the person's what? Person dot income and person dot whatever your thing was named that. Whatever you named this, personal running total infection count, whatever it was. Whatever that is, we're going to add it in as the second item. Person dot personal running infection total data set, okay? Just like that. Just like that, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. So this is all we're doing. We're just, there's one other thing. There's one other thing of note before I post this. We are going to clear this data set because we don't want the ones from last month interfering with these. Did we do that with the histogram data?
No, we didn't.
We need to do that. No wonder. Okay.
Is that why it wasn't working?
Mumble. That's why it had some weird characteristics. Yeah. The short way to say is that's why it wasn't working. Yeah, it had some weird characteristics. Okay, so we need to clear this data set. So thank you. So we need to do, before this loop, we need to do reset. And that's what we're going to need to do below. Okay, so here we go. That's the code right there. We reset it. Let me put it on a medium screen. There we are. We reset it, and then here we ask this data set, please add the person's income and the person's running total infection count. Are we okay with that? Are we okay with that idea? Okay. I'm going to secretly build this just to make sure if there's no problem. Again, my agent-based modeling colleague says, never build models in front of students. Okay.
All I can say is this is just so much more efficient than watching it in class and then going and struggling on your own. And
well, that's good feedback, actually. That's good
so
feedback.
I'd rather, all I can say is for all the times that I saw people flail in the middle of a proof in class, I can't.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why is that different? Anyway,
Right.
I think it just depends on how courageous you are.
Yeah, it's good. It's actually a good thing. I told people earlier, I actually really like it when I have a problem, because it actually shows how you problem solve too in these contexts. And if we're going to make mistakes, let's make them together where we can support each other, right? And this is a case where I had a problem. I forgot to reset this, and that's a classic problem. We should have reset this data set once a month. Now, we didn't have to do that with some of the others, like the one that only got updated at time 0. That's only updated once. It's only populated once. But this guy here, ladies, okay, so folks, this was the one for the scatter plot. And then we need to go down to this lower one here, and we need to reset both those data sets that we're putting things into. Remember that? And in fact, I think the one below it too, we might have to do the same thing. Is that right? No, that was just the start one. That was
it's just that one has 2 data sets within it.
Right, but the one below it only gets populated once. So here these data have to get reset. So, ladies and gentlemen, for this one, the top one, the scatter plot, we need to reset it up front. We need to clear it out, because once a month we'll be populating it, and we don't want the data from the last month still sitting there. Okay? Next, for this one beneath, we need to clear these 2 data sets before we do the loop. This one below that, we don't need to do it anymore. Why? Because this is a one-time thing, the connection count histogram. We don't need to clear the old one. So this one is the top one. This is for the scatter plot.
So, sorry, what's the code for that one? Can you just...
Sure, it's this code.
Oh, okay, so you add, when you're adding to the same data set, you do it in the brackets with, like we do with the parameter? Is that what you're doing? Or do you have 2 separate?
So we're calling add on this data set. Winchell or Alan? Olga here? We're adding the income and the running total infection count. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen? The other one just below it, personal infection count, we just reset. Each of those we add to here and here, we just reset them up front. So I just copied this here and I said dot reset. This thing dot reset.
No, it's only doing one thing. Yeah.
So each of these guys was reset earlier. What's that? We're in this. We're just in the one we did just before this. Personal infection count histogram. Remember that one with weird overlap?
Instead of add, you say reset.
No, not well. Yeah, just up front we're saying reset on both of these histograms data.
Reset, and that's a function, yes, and it's a command.
That's right. You got it. It's just the way to think about it. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm building it. What would you like me to show you?
We'd like you to save this now.
You got it. You got it. Thank you. Okay, version 7 on its way. Okay, here we go. And version 7 is now. Version 7, ladies and gentlemen, is now posted.
Turn the lines off on the scatter.
Oh yeah, thank you. For the scatter plot, I was meaning to come to that, but it's good you caught it. For the top scatter plot, ladies and gentlemen, we want to scroll down to this area where there's a little thing here that says draw a line. So Winchell, I did post that model. We want to scroll down in the scatter plot to where it says draw a line. It's in the area of the scatter plot called appearance. You may have to expand it. It's called appearance here. Do you see this? There's an area called appearance of the scatter plot. Do folks see that? And you need to expand it if it's not already expanded, and you need to uncheck draw a line. Are we okay with that? And now let's run it. Okay, now let's run it. Okay, so now we have a depiction visually of individuals by income as relates to their infection counts, and you can see that we have a rather lopsided histogram here. In fact, this is so truncated a histogram. I think, what is this thrown off by?
All those unknown people.
Yeah, these are people with extraordinary incomes. So it's concentrating on the Bill Gates and the Donald Trumps and the Warren Buffetts of the world are out here. And meanwhile, we're really interested in the bulk of the population that are down here. So let's, we could log transform the x-axis would be one way to deal with it. But what I'll suggest is more prosaic. What I'll suggest, ladies and gentlemen, is that we probably set the scale, the x-axis, to have an upper limit. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, for this histogram, for the scatter plot rather, for the top scatter plot, I would like to go down and I would like to set the scale, the horizontal scale, to be fixed between 0 and 500. 0 and 500. Okay? Even 0 and 250. This is for the scatter plot. For the scatter plot, I would like you to scroll down to scale and set the horizontal axis to be fixed between 0 and 250. Are we okay with that?
I'd suggest something like 1,000 or more.
Okay, you want to do 1,000?
Well,
Okay.
just because then you don't see this other.
Okay, let's say 1,000. Fine, we'll do 1,000. We'll see if it's still
It
too.
looks good at 1,000. I have 5,000. Looks good, but I would say at least 1,000.
Okay, say 1,000. Okay, so what did I do there? Let me go back because some of you seem to be still looking. Okay, here we go. Here we went. I went to set this. I went down in the scatter plot. The scatter plot was the last type of plot we added. It was the top plot. Income versus personal infection count. I scrolled down in the scatter plot to this area called scale, and I set it to display from 0 to 1,000. Are we okay?
Just the horizontal one.
Just the horizontal.
What about the vertical?
Well, no, I want a little range of the vertical because the vertical is going to give range of people getting the number of times people have gotten infected, particularly for the low-income categories. I want to see the full range of that. So here we're going to run it out. Okay? So what do you see? What do you see emerging? Characterize the situation in terms of, remember, income's on the x-axis and number of infections is on the y-axis. What does that suggest? Ladies and gentlemen?
People with an income will move over.
Okay, what's wrong with mine? Mine looks like red lines up over the place.
That's
More like lines.
okay. If you've got lines, you're going to want to go make sure here. So select the scatter plot, and you want to scroll down to the area called appearance, and you want to make sure appearance is expanded so you can see what's in it, and you want to unselect draw line.
Yeah, no, sorry, not literal lines, just the dots are appearing.
Oh, that's because you need to run it further.
Okay.
Because it's stratified. There's horizontal lines because you're either infected once or twice or 3 times. But run it. Go in. Okay. Yeah. So you need to run it. It's only day 13. Now it's starting to emerge. See, now we're dealing with these days. Okay. It's still.
It's pretty stratified.
Scale? Like, this is the horizontal scale from 0 to
That's right. The horizontal scale is
There's-
from
there's-
0 to
there's-
1,000.
Okay, where was that?
Yeah, that's right, you were out of the
It may
room.
have a different.
Yeah, so you want to make
There you
this
have the draw
fixed
lines.
Yeah, it,
from
the
0
default in,
to
because I
1,000.
loaded this one.
Try that. Try that. Okay, who else needs help
Mine had
here?
it
But I
too.
think 7.2 may have, 7.2 may have a different default on
Yeah.
it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For the scale?
Because the draw lines, because I loaded in yours.
Yeah.
When I ran it, it started drawing lines, so then I had to go back and unselect.
Oh?
So I'm sure that,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I suspect that's just the version.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
What time do you leave, you and TA's leave?
Probably around 4 o'clock, 4:30, something like that.
Okay, so if you were meeting
Yeah.
1 to 2, so
Yep.
so you'd be okay here?
Yeah, yep, yep.
All right, you've got a couple invitations.
Oh, okay, okay, I'd like to chat about that. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, what we see here is a pronounced gradient
I think it's okay, yeah.
by a pronounced income-based gradient in counts of infection.
Except that
And this income-based gradient is partly explained by the disparities you see in the numbers of connection counts, right? High income have comparatively fewer connections than low income. But this is an emergent property. This is a property associated with the features of the system combining, the connection count, the higher prevalence of infection there. But what you see is a very sobering gradient, associated with income, and it's a very meaningful way to look at a model with these scatter plots. And now you know how to do it. You know how to build your own. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to stop this.